Half hour power hour. Today is Tuesday, September 2nd. We're going to try this again. We had some voice issues, so hopefully you can hear me now. And if you can't, please let me know in the comment section. So welcome. Today is Thursday, September 2nd, and we are here on Half Hour Power Hour from 1 to 1:30. I so appreciate and thank you for joining us today. And what's really cool is we are just now starting our fall summer session. And we are on episode 1 of our fall segment. So what we're doing here for Half Hour Power Hour today is real estate Q&A. So bring your questions. We actually had some people send in their questions this past week, so I'm super thrilled about that. So maybe your questions will be answered here. If you have any friends or family that has questions on the real estate market or just you, invite them into today's live Half Hour Power Hour and just put in your questions on the comment section and I will answer them for you. So just so you know, I super appreciate all of your support this last year and a half of joining the show. And you can also follow me on Instagram, here on Facebook. And we actually have our episodes now on YouTube. And last year during 2021, there's some comedy things that I also put on YouTube. So if you need another laugh or a good laugh or to change the humor for the day, go onto my YouTube site and you'll see some of the funny episodes as well. But any of these shows that we've just been recording, you can actually go back and take a look. So let's go ahead and get started with our fall series, segment 1, your real estate questions Q&A. So don't hesitate. Feel free to put them in the comment section. I'm going to go ahead, though, and read some questions that we did get locally from some people. And hello, Miss Axelgard. She's one of our top professional realtors here. So if you have a question, she might even be able to chime in with an additional answer like me. I'm trying to actually get away from that picture like being on the top of my head. Okay, so let's get started because we have just a half hour and I'm right here in my Rockland home office and we have questions all the way from Ohio State to here in California. So Kelly from Roseville, and hello Kelly, and thank you so much for sending in your question. So Kelly says, what are some things I should do to get my house ready to sell? And so she's thinking of selling her home. So anyway, there's nothing I can do if it's blurry right now. So hopefully you guys are seeing me okay. I don't know what really to change, but sorry, because I just got a comments there. So anyway, so what are the things what I can do to get my house ready to sell? Well, you know what? I'm going to actually answer that in a two-part question because what can you do to get it ready to sell? Or if you are keeping your home, what can you do to bring youth to your home? So let's talk about what can you do to get your house ready to sell. Well, first of all, call me or one of your local realtors, but call me. I can come in and we can go through your home room by room and I can help you figure out what you can get for the most equity of your home without a lot of costs involved. But the first thing that I would recommend after contacting your realtor is definitely start your inspections. Depending on, even if you've lived in your home for just 3 years, start your inspection process because inspections can end up making or breaking a deal in the future when you go to sell. So you get your home inspection. If you have a pool inspection, definitely get a pool inspection and a sewer inspection. So I'm recommending sewer inspections for the homes now in Stanford Ranch that are 25 to 30 years old. You want to make sure that the sewer is clean from the street to your house because tree roots can be in there. You never know what can happen. So the goal is know what your house is facing before you put it on the market. Have your AC clean, have your AC inspected, your chimney inspected. So have your pest work done. And when I say pest work, I'm talking more about dry rot. Have your roof inspected. So any of those resources, please contact me. I know one of my clients just spent over almost $4,000 on a few items of a roof, which I was like, that is insane. So I know so many different companies that can have done what he got on his roof for a lot less money. So make sure you go to your resources to get some referrals, and I can help you there. So Miss Kelly, thank you so much. So also, if you have multiple paint colors throughout your house, have your house painted and do a neutral color, and I can provide you, based on the kind of the style of your home, what you'll need to do to get a neutral color. Alabaster white is a good color, and there's a couple others out there, but ceiling and paint, ceiling and walls, super important. Get that done. Doors, baseboards, I promise you, it'll bring a whole new fresh look to your home. Get your carpets cleaned. Take some, on my newsletter this month, I'm also talking about how you can bring youth back into your home. So if you're getting ready to sell your home and you have an older home, no, you're not going to want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a remodel. So you want to bring youth back into your home. So I'm going to take on a side note, because in September for my next newsletter, it is about how you can bring youth back into your home, and whether you're selling it or not. So that's going to be really important for sellers. Look at that article, because it's how you can keep your costs low but get more equity out of your home. And so if you want to get a copy of my newsletter, feel free to text me at 916-765-5488, and I will send this to you through mail. Or if you go onto my website, you will actually see this every month on the website. And there's a personal article about real estate that I do every month. So that's just kind of a side note, actually. What you can also do is change out your light fixtures, fans. You can bring so much youth. You go to Home Depot, Lowe's, you can go to Wayfair, get some nicer carpet for throw rugs. So definitely go onto my website, or if you want this article mailed to you, I can send it to you, because that's going to be really specific. And curb appeal, you guys. Get some fresh flowers out there, and you do not have to wait to spring to sell your house. If you want to sell your house now, you don't have to wait for spring when everybody else is selling their home. But definitely curb appeal. If you have dead grass, you've got to do something with the dead grass, even though we're in a drought-friendly time area. You can get fresh bark. Black, crisp, fresh bark makes a big difference. Have your home, I will be more than happy to go out and help you as well as what to do. Get your grass green, get some fresh bark, get some fresh plants, and just make sure that your backyard is clean, and dust off that furniture. So really, inspections, interior paint, depending on the age of the home, you might need to invest $8,000 on exterior paint, but those are definitely things we can talk about. But inspections. So then the next question is, so thank you, Kelly from Roseville. I hope that helped. And if you have more questions, or I didn't answer it, if you're looking for anything more, feel free to put it in the comment section. So now I have Courtney all the way from Yuba City. Hi, Courtney. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. You have some really, really good questions that I think people out there are feeling the same way as you, especially first-time home buyers, or people who haven't bought a home, who sold back in the day during the short sale time and are like, I want to get back into the home market. So here's Courtney. I love this question. Where do you start for buying a house? And you know, Courtney, my son, who's 27 years old, him and his friends have been asking themselves those same questions as well. Where do I start? First, who you start with is a lender, a mortgage broker. Rusty Mendoza, I've been doing business with Rusty for 15 years. He was like fresh out of college at that time. So Rusty really knows his stuff. He's very experienced. Start with a lender. I'm going to put Michelle's going to put his information out there as well. Do not start looking for homes until you talk with your lender. And Courtney, whether you're thinking of buying now, or 6 months from now, or 9 months from now, or if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have the best credit score, I have some debt, talk to Rusty. He will get you on a plan so that you can really envision a house for you, for your family. Or for those who are just graduating from college and you have all the student debt, don't worry, there is hope for you. So start with Rusty, Finance of America. He's helped me, still does, my friends, my family, and my clients. So that's where you're going to start. So then Rusty is going to get you a plan in place, Or he may say, you know what, you are ready to buy. You are pre-approved for XYZ amount. And unless he tells me that, I'm not going to believe it otherwise. So once he tells you you are, you are. And then you can really start envisioning that dream of being a homeowner and paying for your own investment versus paying rent for somebody else's investment. So you guys out there, if you're paying rent, talk to a mortgage broker, because rent is so expensive out there. And I know I just purchased a home in Rockland for an investment property. My mortgage is $2,200 and I'm getting rent, and I gave these people a discount because it's my son, a $2,400 in rent. So I would actually be getting anywhere from $2,600 to $2,800. So those people, which is my son, him and his roommates, they're paying for my mortgage, for my investment. So you know what? You guys get out of the rental thing. There's hope. I promise you. So definitely talk with your lender, Rusty Mendoza. And then this is a really good question, Courtney, and so many young people, or people who had bankruptcy or went through short sales. Why do credit scores matter? That's a big deal. So a credit score actually helps determine the lender on how worthy a borrower is of paying their loan on time, and could they really afford their loan based on their debt to income ratio. So a credit score is actually, the more credit you have, actually the more the credit score is higher. But the more debt you have toward that credit can actually lower a credit score. For example, if I have $20,000 in credit that I can do and pay on a credit card, that's going to look good. But if I have $20,000 in credit, but the credit card debt is like $19,000, that's not going to be very good, because that's showing that I have a lot of credit card debt versus credit. And I hope that kind of makes sense. So the credit score is going to determine your debt to income ratio. So, and that's going to help with your interest rate. So the higher credit score you have, the lower the interest rate you will have. And it's going to determine if you can, what type of loan you can actually get to. So the riskier the loan is, the higher the rate is. You want to show your lender that you have a really good credit score. And again, if you talk with Rusty and even Blue Water Credit, if you have some credit issues and you've been trying to fight them off because something came up from a medical thing from years ago, never paid off, and it's still on your credit score and it's weakening your credit score, there's actually resources out there. And you know what, now that I think about it, I'll probably have Jeff Sipes on again who can talk about that regarding helping getting your credit cleaned up. And then the other thing is, let's see, and it shows your history. And that's another thing with Blue Water Credit that can also help. It shows, if you're getting your credit, if you're paying a credit card, are you paying on time? That is so important to do. And also, just kind of a side note, as a mom and as a realtor and want to help you buy a house, and this is not necessarily to you, Courtney, but since you asked the question, is so many people are using their credit card, because they don't have enough money in the bank. So they're either living paycheck to paycheck or paycheck behind paycheck, and that's not good. So every time you go to use a credit card, unless you really need that item, don't use that credit card. If you're like, well, I want my Starbucks, and you still have that need and you use that credit card, that $5 Starbucks, by the time you pay it off, is $10. And that $5 Starbucks, you just finished in an hour. Or if you're like, well, I really want that outfit and I'm going out, or I'm going to go to a wedding and I really need that outfit, I'm going to go to Macy's and spend $150 and charge it. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. That's just adding more debt. Your goal is to create assets. Your goal is not to create more debt. And you can do this. So that's just kind of a word of advice Remember, there's always friends out there or family that you can buy or you can borrow a cute dress from, or you don't have to go to Macy's. You can always go to a consignment. So that's just kind of a little hint. It's just because from people that I've worked with and have helped and seen what they're spending their money on. Or how about this one? All of your friends are going to Vegas or going to Arizona and you so want to go, and the only way you can go is to charge it. You guys, we've got to get out of this charging our fun, our instant gratification. Save for it. Save for another day. Stop charging it, because that $1,000 Arizona trip with your friends, by the time you pay it off and you see your charge card and your balance, it's a $2,000 trip. So just keep dreaming and knowing that you can actually create an asset versus creating debt. And then the other thing is, when you do have a good credit score, a conventional loan is about a 620 credit score, but if you really want to get a best interest rate, it's 740. So go ahead, check your credit score. A lot of your banks will give you updated scores, and that will help determine, hey, you know what? You may not be as bad as you think, or you might be, oh my gosh, I'm at the 740. I could really, let's see what kind of interest rate I can get. So thank you so much, Courtney, for that question. I also, there was another question from Courtney in Yuba City. What's the main things you should look at when buying a house, and why are they important? Okay, and then I really like your next question about when is it a good time to buy. But I'm going to get through this other question first from you, Courtney. What are the main things you should look at when you're going to buy a house, and why are they important? And you know what I say to my clients that are looking for a home? I'm like, is this a good resale home? Because if the answer is no, then no, I don't think you should buy the home. And so many of my clients go, a resale? I just want to buy the home. I'm not even thinking about reselling it. And that's exactly right. But then when you go to resell it, is it going to be a home that people desire to buy? So here's what you want to look at when you're buying a house. The location. Is it in a good demographics location? Are there schools around? Are there parks around? Is there shopping? When you drive around the neighborhood, does everybody have their car on the sidewalk? Are they using their garage for storage? Are they using their front driveway or the side of their house for storage? Is the back of the house that you're looking at people throwing their garbage in the back of their house, meaning using it as storage? You don't want it to look like Sanford and Sons. Location, location, location is everything. And then I also recommend driving around the house at night, because what you see during the day, it can be completely different at night. So that's really important. When you fall in love with the house, take a look around at night. Also, is the house backing up to a busy street? Is it siding to a busy street? Is there power lines going through the backyard? A lot of people these days don't want power lines going through the backyard, or even through the side of the house. But that's really more of an individual. But those are the things that you want to look at when you're buying a home. And you really want a home that that when you go to resell, that it's still going to be a desirable area. If there's an area where there's a lot of crime, then no, that's not where you want to be. You want to be in an area where there's less crime. And trust me, there are homes that are affordable that you can find in great areas. Sacramento County, Placer County, El Dorado County. It's just, what do you want? What can you afford? And where do we start? So I hope that really helped as far as what are the main things you should look at when buying a home. And really it is location, location, location. How do you know? Okay, this is a great question. How do you know when it's a good time to buy? And last night I was out with my my besties from real estate, Elizabeth and Sherry, and asked them. And Elizabeth is, when you're ready to buy. And that is so true. And the other thing that Elizabeth even brought up, which is so true, is if people are saying, you got to buy now, you got to buy now. Well, if you're not ready to buy, then no, that is not then you don't buy now. It is when you're ready to buy. So people are like, well, it's a seller's market. I want to wait till it's a buyer's market. Well, you can. So I'm going to ask you, well, when is it a buyer's market? How do you know when it's a buyer's market? And people that were buyers actually that I worked with a couple of years ago, and they were like, no, it's just getting too expensive. We want to wait until the market goes down. Well, if they had bought a couple of years ago, they would have already had $150,000 minimum in equity. So the question, stop worrying about everybody else. Look at yourself. Ask yourself, am I ready to buy? If you are, then yes, buy. And give me a call. If you already have a realtor, talk to your realtor. If not, I would be honored to talk to you, have that first conversation with you. Let's go over your goals together and make sure, yes, it's the right time for you to buy. And I will tell you this, you never know the right time until the time has passed. That's when you know. So we don't know when it's going to shift from a seller's market to a buyer's market. Right now, it is a seller's market. But if you're ready to buy, you buy. Because especially if you're going to be in your home for 5 years, 7 years, 9 years, then you don't wait. Why wait? Then if you buy now and it's 7 years, 9 years and it appreciates, usually the average, now it's appreciating like crazy, but the average home appreciates about 3 to 5% a year, depending on a good market. Otherwise, it just stabilizes. So you guys, buy now. So that was a really good question. So I love all your questions, Courtney, so thank you. All right, so here's one from Aiden in Roseville. Thank you, Aiden. How much money should I save to buy my first home? That's a great question. And if you're a first-time homeowner, you think you may have to save 10 to 20% to buy your first home, and you don't. Do you know that you can buy, and I would be curious to see if people know this answer. Do you know that if you went and bought a home at $300,000, that you only know for your down payment for your loan and for your closing costs that you only need about $18,000 to save? And if you have parents that can give you a gift fund, you can do that. So you guys, people think I have to have $70,000, $80,000 to buy a home. You don't. Your down payment with your lender for a first-time home buyer is about 3.5% on average. And there's some great first-time home buyer programs out there. There's some great programs out there for our military. That's 100% financing. So if you are VA, you guys, talk to your lender, talk to your realtor. If you are in the military and you are renting right now, you deserve to have a home instead of paying rent. You deserve to walk into a home and realize this is the place I've been fighting for our country. I'm just putting a little soft note in there. I deserve to have a home for myself and for my family, or just myself. So reach out there to your lender, because VA has 100% financing. So a first-time home buyer who's not military, 3.5%. So Aiden, think about when you're out there working, think about, I need about $18,000 to buy my first home, but maybe my parents or my grandparents or my family can even give some gift funds, maybe about $10,000 in gift funds, and all you have to do is save $8,000. And you know what? For first-time home buyers out there, you could buy a house, and then you can also get some roommates that can offset some of that mortgage payment. So there's some great things to start building your own asset platform. Have your money work for you versus you working for your money. And you know what, you guys? Speaking of which, I'm going to kind of go on a side note right now, especially for those of you who are young, who are really now starting off on... I'm going to close the door. Hold on. Hold on. I'm still here, you guys. Okay. Thank you. That's what happens when we're live on Facebook. Oh my gosh, and it's 1:30, and I wanted to talk about one more question. Okay, so I'm going to go on a side note for just a moment. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki is a great book, you guys. If you want to know how, are you guys working tirelessly every day, paycheck to paycheck, and not knowing how can you get out of this mess? And I was telling my sister yesterday, instead of trying to work your way up the ladder, why don't you own that ladder? Start with Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. He is going to show you how your money can work for you versus you working tirelessly for your money. It's a great book. That was a side note, and I think, Michelle, you were going to put something on there about, you can get them on Amazon.com as well, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he has so many books out. But I want to get to Jason's question. This is a really good question, and if any of you realtors are listening too, this is great because this has to do with online brokerages. So Jason from Roseville, thank you so much for sending in your question. What advantages or disadvantages are there for using a local agent compared to some of these online brokerages like Open Door? So I know we're going a little bit over the half hour, power hour live show, but I think this is really important and I want to address a couple other questions. So have you guys heard of Open Door? That's a whole different way of doing real estate, and there's definitely pros and cons. So make sure you do your homework and take a look at your actual situation. Open Door is a company that it's a company looking for profit, of course. Open Door is a great program for somebody who needs to sell their house super fast, doesn't mind that it's a seller's market and may be leaving money on the table, but the seller is willing to maybe lose some of their equity so that they can get out of their house quickly and move on. Open Door, it's a resource that actually what they're going to do is you can go in, figure out how much you can get for your house, and then they will also pay for a free home inspection, but they're also going to deduct what they think is going to cost to do all of those repairs on your home. Not what you might get your handyman to do, but what they think. And so there's a lot of fees involved. But if you want to do a quick close, that might be something for you. But definitely talk to your local realtor first to see, to make those, to go through those pros and cons, because it's not for everybody. And then the other thing is, with a local real estate agent, they're going to know what that you can do to get more equity in your home. Plus, you're going to negotiate, because today, remember, it's a seller's market. So in a seller's market, the goal is get your home ready for sale and let the buyers push it up. And that's not going to be for Open Door. You're only allowing one buyer. They're going to do their home inspection. They're going to tell you, well, it looks like it's $10,000, as for example, of repair. So we're going to deduct that. And then we need to deduct this fee, that fee, and this fee. So it's super important that you really take a look at what those costs are for you. So I apologize, my dog was quiet. She promised me she would be quiet from 1 to 1:30, and she knows it's 1:33. So she's like, hey. So the other couple of things, let's see. And the other thing is, as a realtor, a local realtor, we know how much your home is actually worth. Where Open Door doesn't really know. They don't know what the trends are. They don't know what the competition is, where your local realtor is. So if you're